Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a bit of a quicker match featuring myself as the UK against the combined forces of Finland and East Germany. So I am playing just the UK, not the Commonwealth. I was doing it for the availability and veterancy bonuses to using that single nation to the whole faction, and also just to be a bit of a, UK is fun sort of guy. So, I do start off with two groups of SAS pushing rather aggressively down the field. Their intention is to hold this zone between Charlie and Echo. And we also have major troop movements, mostly cheap FV-432s, carrying, various infantry from the UK arsenal forward into Foxtrot and Echo. I'm hoping to secure the towns, to secure Hotel, and then to grind through my opponents on that eastern bridge, which may or may not be advisable, but it's something that I tend to like to do. And we have first contact here, so the Puma HC-1s do spot the enemy SPW 80s, and I get the sense that the East German player is moving up, trying to secure these woods, probably that town as well, and maybe hoping to come here eventually, and we really need to drop off as the Pumas start to take fire before they're able to set down. So there's the SAS, and the other one I sent to continue on to Charlie, given that this position was taking fire, and I don't expect these SAS to live very long. And yet, this is actually, I loved watching this, it was pretty amazing, but the SAS carry a tertiary weapon that is not useful against infantry. It's actually anti-air, and their secondary is a pretty phenomenal anti-tank weapon, the AT-4, 20 rounds a minute, 19 AP, and my opponents get a little bit too close before dropping off their infantry. So, all of those kills were transports, they were also infantry kills, and we've gotten our Puma HC-1 back here to cut off the reinforcements coming through Charlie, which is usually the default reinforcement section for anything on the western side of the field. Meantime, our infantry are moving forward. We have captured Hotel, and we're also getting a forward presence in Foxtrot with a couple of scouts, Challenger Mark 1, everything like that coming up to hopefully reinforce our wayward SAS, who have used fully 10 of their 12 anti-tank weapons and gotten roughly, I think, 6 or 7 kills. So, the SAS still holding out, and we have, I believe, a bomber coming in. Yep, evac Winchester. Looks like 2 small bombs. Does actually get taken down by the SAS as well. So, not just for anti-tank, they can actually kill bombers as well if they fly a little too close. The SAS themselves were largely fine. I think we lost 3, going from 14 strength to 11. So the SAS are moving now, having not really fired at anybody at all. I think actually the reinforcements come in a little farther up, so I was not quite well positioned for that. We're being chased now by Litsa Schutzen, but we'll return back to those SAS here in a minute. And in the meantime, we are moving up lots of forces. These are mostly territorials, just cheap militiamen, providing a presence more than anything else, as we do get a command vehicle up toward Echo. And now our Puma HC-1 these are the transport helicopters that dropped off our SAS, have found and are killing the enemy CV. There it goes. So with that, Bravo is uncapped. They still are firing the RAK H91. I believe it's a Finnish artillery piece. I'm going to try and take it out, but we have killed their zone in the rear position of their forces, and we are ticking with +1. So this is a game of conquest, as per usual, and not having your back home zone is a bit of a problem. Now, had I been creative, I probably would have pushed command infantry out this way as well. Given the success of this position that this maneuver had, we might have been able to capture Bravo for ourselves. However, quick reinforcement from Ashilka. Wonderful little AA piece there, I believe East German, definitely not Finnish, who do tend to rely more heavily on missiles from my experience, is able to take out the Puma HC-1 before I can kill that RAK H91. And now we have SAS moving back over toward Bravo. These guys are still kicking, so they've used all of their AT-4 shells, rounds I suppose, and they're now engaging with M16s against Litsa Schutzen and SPW transports, just holding as long as they can. And so remember these names, Gilroy and Deans, those are the 2 SAS infantry, team leaders or squad leaders that are holding that forward position. Now, had I really been trying to be mean, I probably would have pushed up here as well. The Challenger 1 would have made short work of Litsa Schutzen and MGTMs in the open, but this was, purportedly anyway, a friendly game with Wogel and Papasaurus being a slightly newer player. And I really didn't expect my SAS to have this sort of success that they did in this center area. I kind of figured, yeah, it'd be kind of funny. You know, it's not really a helicopter rush. It's just a bit of a paratrooper forward position sort of thing. And now we are finally moving up a little bit with the scimitars, and I'm reinforcing as well with the Stormer HVM. Now these guys, some of my favorite anti-air pieces in the entire game. 75 points is rather expensive, but 2,625 meter range against ground basically makes them a relatively weak ATGM. Now I say weak because the AP power on this is only 12, it's not that good. It'll take a couple shots to chew through even medium tanks. And now we see the wisdom of pushing up scimitars, as there is a Conquerors team in the woods that is unfortunately able to take out a couple of my scimitars relatively well. We do, however, with the SAS, spot the replacement Führungs UAZ that was brought in to recap the Bravo zone. So we've killed it, they brought in another one, we spotted it with the SAS. I now know exactly where that thing is, and I'm going to try and do something about it. So the SAS need to get forward, but maybe they can come up this way and, you know, cross that bridge. And I think I was actually, for some reason, trying to get them to the town, but here, this is an excellent place. So the Salamanders come in, and they do get countered relatively well by the SAS, but these are XA-180s. Pretty effective, I mean, standard basic guns, but enough of them firing for sustained periods of time will be able to damage and stun SAS, and that spooks their command vehicle, which moves forward and into the woods. And at this point, I am zoomed in this close, staring at this guy, trying to estimate where will he actually stop. So he gets into the woods. We see the zone is still uncapped, still uncapped, still uncapped. This whole time he's driving in, and he stops. And I estimate that he stopped right about here-ish. And we'll see if that's true or not. In the meantime, these Salamanders really were a poor choice to bring out. The SAS using up pretty much all of their AA weaponry, just firing out, taking out, I think, something like 6 of those, maybe 5. But 5 or 6 of those Salamanders shot out of the air, more than making up for the price. And here comes a Harrier. Kaboom. So that does, in fact, kill the command vehicle in Bravo. And at this point, my opponents were kind of sitting there going, okay, well, yeah, we've lost Echo, which has been counter-capped. We haven't been able to have the spare points to cap Delta because we lost Bravo and had to put another command vehicle in Bravo, which itself was killed. We have one zone. I'm taking out a +3. My opponents have 1 point out of 500, and that is going to be game. So, well played to my opponents. I think they weren't quite expecting that sort of pressure from the paratroopers, and the kill losses ratio is decently skewed. So 785 for me, 205 for them. Not a lot of losses here. It was a relatively short game, but if we take a look, this is Deans and Gilroy. These two, this pair of SAS infantrymen were the 2 squads that were fighting most of the time in that forward position, and just the sheer length of this kill list. Granted, lots of these are on transports, but oftentimes the transport would take the infantry with them, so we have Schutzen that were dead, Litza Schutzen that were dead. They even killed an Alouette scout helicopter and a MiG-17 PF bomber. So very impactful there. If we find the other group of SAS, 4 Salamandras, not 5, but still each one of those is what, 35 points? So well worth it, about 140 right there. We do have the 2 CV kills on here as well. Just a lot of units being incredibly worth it for the Brits. Well, that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.